You're listening to From Startup to Six Figures, the show that teaches you how to turn your idea or side gig into a serious income. Now, it's time to build the business that will change your life with your host, Samuel Stokes.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to From Startup to Six Figures, the show where we teach you how to turn your skills and side gigs into a serious income. Now, in today's episode, which is episode number 4 of the show, we're going to look at the goals and plans that will transform your business. Now, something that always amazes me as I meet with business owners and entrepreneurs is the number of them that don't have clearly defined plans and goals. Now, don't get me wrong, most of them know a general direction they're trying to head in, like they want to grow their business or prepare for retirement, or they have some sort of broad brushstroke picture but no clearly defined goals and plans. And we're going to look at why that's a problem, how we can fix it, and we're going to look at these in action in our example business. So let's dive on in. Now, Simply put, we'll pose it as a question: why should we set goals in our business? Why should you set goals? Why should I set goals? And what's the purpose of them? Well, in short, over time it's been proven that steady progress beats bursts of activity and then burnout. Now, if you're just starting out on your entrepreneurial journey, you might not have experienced this yet, but most entrepreneurs go through a stage of heavy motivation where they're just getting stacks of stuff done and then burn out. And I'm going to explain why that often occurs and why goals are so important in order to beat that. So goals allow us to set sort of a final destination, or a destination we're moving towards, and having those clearly defined allows us to lay out a step-by-step plan of getting there, okay? And that's really important. So let's take a little bit of a closer look at the dangers of not having a plan, as these two particularly bright fellows on the right are about to discover. Not having a plan can result in terrible consequences. For these two, probably a trip to the hospital. For us in our businesses, it can result in all sorts of things. It can, at its least sort of dangerous result, is that it will simply result in a lack of focus. You won't be honed in on what you should be working on a daily basis, and you'll sort of waste time working on the urgent rather than the really important things in your business. It can also result in stagnation. Now, stagnation is where you're not really making a lot of progress, or you're sitting there sort of spinning your wheels. You might be going into the office each day, getting some stuff done, but not actually getting any closer to your goal. A real danger is your inability to feel or see progress. If you don't know where you're going, and if you don't have a clearly defined goal, how do you know how much progress you're making? And in most cases, it just feels like you're making no progress. And that's one of the ways that makes it really easy for entrepreneurs to burn out. If you don't know what you're working towards and you can't see your daily progress or your weekly progress, it's really easy to feel like all your effort's for nothing. And when you feel like that is often when you burn out. So having a clear plan and clear steps allows us to measure our progress, and that makes it a lot easier for us to see that progress and motivate ourselves to keep moving forward. Not having a plan means we can't be held accountable, and in most instances a lack of accountability soon results in a lack of progress or a slowdown in the speed of our progress. And as we mentioned before, no plan increases the chance of disaster, like these two gents. So let's not be them, let's have a plan. So business plans and goals should be made up of things that fall into these 3 categories, with the final goal of allowing you to be accountable and creating a system where you can measure your progress. So all your goals and plans should be specific, meaning the goal should be clearly defined. You should know when you've reached your goal. It shouldn't be a case of, maybe we did it, maybe we didn't, or we're close, perhaps, who knows. It should be clearly defined. Like if my goal was to go to McDonald's and eat 10 cheeseburgers today, I know exactly whether or not I've succeeded at my goal. If I've eaten 7 cheeseburgers, I've probably got indigestion, and I haven't achieved my goal. If I hit 10, I'm due at the hospital, but I've achieved my goal. There's no ambiguity there. You know exactly where you are in relation to your goal. So they've got to be specific. 2, measurable. Measurable usually involves a number, okay? You want a measurable goal so you can track your progress. You'll notice when people say, I want to lose weight, often not a lot happens, but when they want to say, I want to lose a kilo a week over the next 12 weeks, that gives them a clearly measurable goal that they can see their progress. They know if they've lost 1.5 kilos, they've really smashed it. They've done all the things they were meant to do, and if they keep repeating that, they'll keep having excellent results. They know that if they only lost 300 grams, or worse yet, they put on 5 kilos, that they're heading in the wrong direction, and they know they can adjust their behavior accordingly, right? Number 3, your goals should be realistic, okay? If I say that I want to build a 6-figure business by the end of the week, and yes, I know there's stacks of stuff on YouTube and Facebook that, you know, gurus spruiking this sort of stuff, it's not really a realistic goal. A person with no business, no idea, no product, no concept, and no list or platform, is hugely unlikely to be able to do that. I'm not saying it's never been done. I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm simply saying for most people, that would not be a realistic goal, okay? If they had a massive platform and they were launching a new business, hugely possible. So realistic is very contingent and depends on context and you and your situation, okay? But all goals should be realistic. The reason being, if they're not, and you try and fail, you're likely to suffer from a decrease in your motivation, okay? And being successful in business is as much about time management as it is about energy management and motivation, okay? You could have the same 24 hours in a day, but if you've got no energy or drive or motivation to do what you need to do, you're not going to make that progress, okay? So remember, specific, measurable, realistic, and this allows you to be accountable and check your progress regularly. So in our test business, which we're about to take a detailed look at, we have one large goal and then a number of short-term goals, okay? Now, the large goal, obviously, for this exercise, is for this business to turn over 6 figures, okay? That would be a clear success in having gone from a startup, something that was a passion or a side gig, all the way to a business that produces enough income to live off, okay? And to be able to trade a job for a business supporting our whole lifestyle, okay? So our large goal is a 6-figure annual turnover. Now, we won't go into turnover versus profit. That's a subject of a whole nother episode, but we want a 6-figure annual turnover, so sales of over $100,000 in a single year. And we're working towards that. Realistically, I think we'll hit that somewhere in a 2-year time frame, okay? And we'll look at how we've gone historically over time and get a feel for why that is a realistic, not a ridiculous figure. Now that we have our large goal out there, our target in the distance, we want to lay out short-term goals or stepping stones that allow us to get there. This particular business scales, as we talked about last week, on number of readers, number of books, number of people that read from one book to another, okay? So all of those things are key performance indicators in our business. So our short-term goals are to get to the point where we can publish 6 books every year, okay? That's 1 book every 60 days or 1 book every 2 months consistently. Our best year to date, we've published perhaps 4, close to 5 books. So this requires a bit of stretching and a bit of improving of our processes and time management, but it's readily achievable. If we focused, we could do this. At my busiest and most committed points in time, I've been able to publish a book in about 5 weeks. So I know I can do this, but what I want to be able to do is do it consistently, not 3 books and then no books for 6 months. I want regular, reliable launches every 60 days. Okay, that's the goal. That's clear, that's specific, that's measurable, and it's realistic. Okay. Second, we want to increase read-through, which means the number of people that go from book 1 to book 2, we want to increase that to about 35%, okay? Because a 35% is industry average for a good series from book 1 to book 2, okay? So we want to get to that. Most of my books are a little bit lower than that. Some of them 10 to 15%, some of them 20, 25%. It also depends on the price of the books and other things. So we're experimenting, but the goal is to get to 35%. We also want to acquire 200 new email subscribers a month. Okay, we want to be able to reach the people who are clients of our business, so we want to successfully get them onto our mailing list. We're starting with 200. Ideally, we'd want that number to go up successively over time to the point where we're acquiring 500, 1,000, 2,000 new emails a month. That's the eventual goal. Okay. We want 500 new customers a month, which means people who've never bought one of our book ones before. So we're looking for unique sales of book ones in our series, because that shows someone entering our ecosystem. Someone's buying a book for the first time. And our last short-term goal is $5,000 a month in sales. Now that would put us halfway towards our turnover goal, and it's still a fair way away for us. On our average month, we're doing $1,000 to $2,000 in sales, so the business is still very much in a side gig stage, okay? But over the course of this show, we're going to show you how we're going to build that from 1 to 2 to 3 to 5,000 and then to $10,000 a month, so we can smash out our 6-figure annual turnover. Now, other goals we could have in our business is we could have potential goals to increase our conversion percentage, so the amount of people that click on an ad and then buy a book. We could look to improve different ad metrics like click-through rate, cost per click, and other things to improve our advertising. We could improve our reviews or our social proof, and we could also improve our social media engagement. And these are all things that we will look at over the course of the show, so don't stress if these might be the issues that you're particularly facing right now and you want to work on them. Don't worry, we're going to cover all of these topics. This show is going to be a deep dive into lots of different aspects of improving your business. Okay, so we will get to all of those. But what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at the actual business, look at where it is today in dollars and cents. And like I said when we started the show, we're going to be hugely transparent. You're going to see the things that are working well in the business and the things that are failing and need improvement. Okay, because for me, remember, my key area of expertise started in accounting, business structuring, business coaching. So I'm not an expert author and I'm not an expert at this business. This is a skill I'm learning. This is a skill I didn't go to university to acquire, but I'm building in my spare time and turning into an income that could support a family. Okay? I'm doing that in front of you transparently so you can see the good, the bad, and ugly. Okay? Alright, so currently, today, which we're coming up to the end of the August, this show is going to be pre-recorded because next month when this airs I'll have just had surgery and I won't be able to speak. So I'm pre-recording a few shows just so that we can continue with the series and not miss any. So at the point of recording, we're almost at the end of the month and we're at about $1,500 in revenue. So it's US dollars, not that it really matters. So in Aussie dollars, it's more like 22, 2,300. I expect we'll finish up end of the month just under 2,000 US dollars. And this business is made up of, obviously, book series. And we have 3 different series. So we have my first ever epic fantasy series. It's only doing about $300 this month, so it's just ticking away on the back burner. It's not making a fortune, but it is bringing new readers in. Okay, so it's just humming away. Much could be improved here, and we could definitely generate some more revenue off this series, and we're working on ads for it at the moment. Then we have my most recent series that's just releasing, and it's underperforming. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like this is one of the best series I've ever written, but it's just not converting, guys. We're sending a steady amount of traffic, not having many sales. There is definitely something going wrong here. Okay, the book quality is exceptional. Now, I'm not just tooting my own horn. I've had people read it, proofreaders and beta readers. They think it's a great book, which means somehow my marketing message is off for it. And over the coming weeks, we're going to look at how we can improve that. And then the third series is my Urban Fantasy series. It's obviously my best and most steady performing series at the bulk of the income, so just over $1,000 thus far. Now, this series generates steady income, and my Urban Fantasy marketing seems to be doing better than my Epic Fantasy series marketing. So my current plans for this business is to write more Urban Fantasy books. Okay, even though I'm partway through an Epic Fantasy series, we'll finish that one over time, but we're also prepping the next Urban Fantasy series. Why is that? Because it will move me closer to my goals, okay? If this is selling readily, writing more books set in this world will make it easier to find readers and sell more books, okay? Obviously, I have a bigger following and a bigger audience here, so it makes sense to look after the customers, okay? And give them what they want. If they want more Urban Fantasy and they love this stuff, I want to write more of it, because being in business is taking care of your customers, their needs and wants. And so that's how I'm answering that. I'm planning my next Urban Fantasy series at the moment, with plans to write and release things shortly. I'm also experimenting on audiobooks. I'm having the first one produced now, which will add another revenue stream to the business. We'll look at that in a bit more detail in future episodes. So today we've looked at why we should set goals and plans, so we have those very key, clear stepping stones in our business. We've looked at what goals should and shouldn't be. We've looked at this particular business, and we've had a nice look through some of the numbers of the business, and we'll explore these in great detail to teach principles in future episodes. You can see I obviously have oodles of information which I use to make my decisions, okay? So we'll go through all that, and I'll teach you how to really get into the nitty-gritty of these so that you can grow your business as quickly and effectively as possible. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the show. Feel free to subscribe to the channel, share it with anyone else you know who might be able to benefit from the content in the episodes. And we'll see you next week for episode 5. In the meantime, any questions or comments, just let us know down below, or jump into the Master Your Business community. There's a link below, and feel free to ask your questions there. We will see you next week. Take care, guys.
Get show notes, the podcast archive, and free resources to boost your business at masteryourbusiness.com.au, or join our Facebook group at mybcommunity.com. Join us next week for more coaching and inspiration on how you can grow your business from startup to 6 figures and beyond.